Welcome, ladies and gentlemen of the internet. I will be your host this evening. Today we're going to be discussing how to create a skybox for a video game in Blender. First thing that we're going to want to do is download this particular skybox texture off the internet and save it somewhere on your desktop. I'm going to go ahead and put mine in a textures folder. Go ahead and load Blender to the default cube screen and delete the default camera and the default light because we're not going to be doing any rendering this scene. The next thing I'm going to do is select the cube, tab into edit mode, and select a few vertices and mark these as a seam. To mark a seam, select a set of vertices and press Ctrl-E and click Mark Seam. This is going to turn the vertices red. These particular vertices are important because when we do a UV unwrap, which I'm going to do in a second by pressing U and then clicking unwrap, it's going to create a UV unwrap in the shape of the skybox that we downloaded earlier. As you'll see in the UV image editor here, it looks exactly the same, although it's a little smaller. I'm going to go ahead and rotate and move it into position here. Then I'm going to click Image, Load Image off the menu, and then open the image that we downloaded in the previous step. You'll see that it's roughly matches, but we need to move these particular UV vertices into position, pixel for pixel. The pixel values are going to be either 1, 513, 1023, 1535, or 2047. The reason they're going to be one of these numbers is because each of the blocks, or each of the side of the skybox is going to be 512 by 512. If we set a 1 pixel border for these, then you'll get 513 or 1023. That'll give us a border around each of the images of 1 pixel, just in case the image is a little dirty and we don't have a clean fit. I've looked at this image and it's quite clean, so 1 pixel is good, but sometimes you got to use 5 pixels or even 10 pixels of border just to get a good looking UV unwrap. While I go ahead and set the rest of the UV vertices, I'm just going to explain what this skybox is. Basically, it's a skybox where we're going to invert the normals. Again, you can invert the normals by going into edit mode, pressing Ctrl-Shift-N, and that's going to set the normals to be facing inside. And then once we put this texture on the inside of the box, it'll kind of look exactly like a regular sky. The idea is that you can't see all of the boxiness because the texture is shadeless, and in that case it kind of approximates a sky. This specific texture has been wrapped so that there are no repeating sections, and there's a clean joining when we set the texture to be a box. So that's where we're going to go do right here this second. Just go ahead and delete the default material and set the diffuse to 100 and set the specular to 0. Go to the texture tab, select a texture, set it to a UV texture, and set the UV map that we just created in the previous section. Now, if we rotate the box by 180, you'll see that we'll have the bottom of the skybox on the inside. I'm going to invert the normals and then change the shading type by just expanding the right menu there to GLSL shading and enable backface culling. Now you'll see that the normals have been inverted. The texture is on the inside of the box, and if we just pan around, we'll see that it roughly approximates a sky, and we can't actually see the boxiness of the texture. With that, I'll leave you guys to play around with this and leave any comments of things that you'd like to see. I'm Ron Burgundy. Stay classy, San Diego.